Thank you for listening to the show on Really Big Something Channel. September 14th, 2017.
2:05 here on the great WRKO. Okay, my friends, so let me ask all of you this, okay? What is the fundamental moral principle that is underlying this now overwhelming push, at least from the elites? It's now President Trump. He's now on board officially. It's Pelosi, it's Schumer, it's the Democrats, it's the liberals, it's Ryan, McConnell, the rhinos, the entire establishment behind giving amnesty for those DACA beneficiaries and their parents and family members. What's the underlying moral principle? They say it again and again. That the sins of the parents should not be visited upon the children. That the children, many of whom, by the way, came here at 12, 13, 14, 15, but let that go. That the children, that they're innocent. That they were brought here due to the actions of their parents, and so they should not be penalized for what their parents did. And so this is why they should be given amnesty. And as I've been reporting now throughout the show, Trump is now very close to a final deal whereby he is now going to agree to some kind of legalized status. It's going to be done through the DREAM Act, the bill now in Congress, whereby not just the 800,000 so-called Dreamers, but also family members, parents, it's going to be up to 2 million, will now be getting amnesty, will be allowed to stay in this country. And by the way, contrary to the disinformation being put out there, they will be eligible for citizenship within 5 years. They may change it, but the way the DREAM Act is, they get citizenship in 5 years, including the right to vote. Immediately, they will be eligible for Medicare, cash assistance, i.e. EBT welfare, in-state tuition, plus they will also, because some of them have been working, back taxes, rebates, etc., because some of them have been paying taxes for years, they're going to get a giant check. So, in exchange for massive border security, funding, but not the wall. The wall, Trump says he wants later, not now. So, this is the outline of the deal. What's the moral principle? But, Jeff, they're innocent, Jeff. Jeff, it's not their fault, Jeff. It's the parents brought him here, Jeff. Okay. Yet, yesterday, at Fenway Park, a couple of fans managed to get into the park during the baseball game, and they put up a sign, a banner, which they unfurled on the Green Monster as the Red Sox were playing the Oakland A's in the fourth inning, which said, in white letters with a black background, "Racism is as American as baseball." Racism is as American as baseball. Later, Boston Antifa claimed via Twitter that, in fact, they were responsible for the banner and for this stunt. So they're bragging how they're able to get into Fenway. But to me, it had to be an inside job in some ways because, as Brittany rightly tells me, good luck getting a water bottle in there. Good luck getting a bag of chips in there. Good luck getting anything in there. So how they were able to smuggle in a banner of that size, there had to be somebody on the inside, a friend or whatever, that let these kids through. But anyway, they got in, they got to the back, near the Green Monster, and just unfurled their banner. It was quickly taken down. Now, to me, I think there's no question about it. The Red Sox themselves enabled this. And I blame John Henry. And I blame the entire Red Sox organization, because when you have them going on about the N-word was apparently said to Adam Jones during a baseball game earlier this year, and suddenly then Red Sox fans are all racists. If you go on about having to rename Yawkey Way, all you're doing now is fanning the flames for these left-wing militants to say, aha, Red Sox are racist, their fans are racist, and guess what now? Baseball itself is racist. As this took place here in Baltimore, the statue of Francis Scott Key, the author of the Star-Spangled Banner, of our national anthem, was completely defaced, either by Antifa or by members of Black Lives Matter. At this point, it really doesn't matter. They're almost interchangeable, okay? They're very simpatico, as they say. Racism, racist. Francis Scott Key is a racist. The national anthem is racist. The mayor of Baltimore, listen to this, under pressure now from these left-wing militant groups who want this statue to be removed, like other statues are being removed, Confederate statues and others, across the country, says that no, she has no plans to remove the Francis Scott Key statue for now. When I read that comment, I'm like, what? That's like saying, I'm not opposed to getting rid of motherhood for now. What? How would you even consider this? He's the author of our national anthem. This to me should be it's non-negotiable. Now, why is the Jefferson statue at Charlottesville? They put a big shroud over it. And then the university said no, and they lifted the shroud and the cover. But why is the Jefferson statues being attacked? Why are the George Washington statues being attacked? Why are the Theodore Roosevelt statues being attacked? Why is Francis Scott Key's statue being attacked? And why are banners being unfurled now in Fenway Park on the Green Monster that racism is as American as baseball? Why? Because the underlying principle of the left is that, you see, unlike the illegals, this is now the key, unlike the illegals, when they come here illegally and break our laws, the sins of the father are not the sins of the son or the sins of the daughter. In fact, they both get amnesty. The kids get amnesty, and then, of course, the papi and mama, they get amnesty as well. But for us, for Americans, and it doesn't matter your race, for law-abiding Americans, no. The sins of your ancestors are your sins. The sins of your great-great-great-grandparents are your sins. And you must be ashamed of them. And you must take responsibility for them. And you must atone for them. Now, what my father did, what my grandfather did, what my great-grandfather did, how am I responsible for that? I'm my own man. I can't control what they did. It's beyond my control. Why should I be blamed for whatever, if there was racism or whatever was done 50 years ago or 100 years ago or 200 years ago? That's moral point number one. But the deeper point is this. Listen now to the twisted logic and philosophy of the left. What they're telling us is those that come into this country illegally are going to be given a privileged status, a carved out exemption in the law. There's going to be one set of rules for them, whereby they will not be punished for the laws today, for their lawless behavior, either for them or for their children. But for legal Americans, legal immigrants, U.S. citizens, law-abiding Americans, no. You're not just guilty for the sins of your father and mother. You're guilty for the sins of all your ancestors and your great-great-great-grandparents, even if your grandparents, like mine, were in Europe and were enslaved themselves. It doesn't matter. You're white, as an example. That's white privilege. It doesn't matter. The KKK is your burden. That's the logic now of the left. Now, what I am telling you now is this. This is going to turn a lot of people off, but if I'm not here to speak the truth, honestly, my friends, what's the point of me being behind the microphone? They are now fundamentally, radically defining America as we know it. What they are now doing is creating two sets of rules, two sets of laws, two sets of philosophical approaches to how people in America will be treated. And what they're saying now is that illegals are going to be given preferential treatment, a distinct status above those of any other American in this country. This America cannot stand. This profoundly divides America in a fundamental way. This America, I am telling you, cannot stand. This is the road to the Balkans. This is not new what they're doing here. They think it's new. It's not new. This is former Yugoslavia. This is the Serbs versus the Croatians. This is the Albanians versus the Serbs. This is the Bosniaks versus, this is, I've seen this movie again. This is Rwanda. I can run down country after country where groups now go after one another, tribes go after one another and exempt themselves while holding other people accountable or responsible for allegedly what happened 100 years ago or 200 years ago or 500 years ago. There's no way out of this morass. This is now the America that the left is on the verge of creating. This is what Donald Trump, with all due respect, doesn't see. This is what Ryan O'Ryan doesn't see. This is what the Democrats, I think, to their credit, do see. This is what the left does see. And this will be the fundamental transformation of our country. Because these people, this Boston Antifa that put up that banner, those are Obama's children. They're young adults, college students, many of them are just out of college. Ironically, they're wealthy white kids. See, that's the amazing thing about Antifa. They're white. And not just white. They're either upper middle class, or actually wealthy college students, or their parents are wealthy. They're the ones who are engaging in this kind of terroristic anti-American activity. I don't know about you, my friends. I can't get tickets to Behind the Green Monster. I mean, I can't get tickets, but I can't afford it. I mean, I could, but I mean, it's going to bust the bank. So these are these privileged white kids who have been so indoctrinated by their teachers, professors, college campuses, public schools under the Obama years. Everything is now seen through the prism of race. It's race, race, race. And white privilege and oppression and anti-Americanism and guilt. There's all this historical guilt. And that's what you saw on display last night at Fenway Park. Now, let me tell you what I think should happen. Boston Antifa has now claimed responsibility. I would go after Boston Antifa. I would find out who these four people are, these four thugs, and I would throw them in jail. For many reasons. For many, many reasons. You don't have a right to disrupt a baseball game. You don't. You don't have a right to block traffic. You don't. You don't have a right to beat people over the head with a baseball bat embedded with nails. You don't. You don't have the right to shut down conservative speakers, as Antifa is going to try to do tonight with Ben Shapiro, I believe, at the University of Berkeley. You don't. But more importantly, this is now the decision that we as a country are going to have to confront, and it's coming very quickly. Are we going to be a constitutional republic in which everybody, I don't care about your color, your creed, your gender, your sexual orientation, your age, whatever, are we all equal under the law? Do we all have equal rights? And are we all created in the image and likeness of God? Or are you going to have balkanization and tribalism? Are you going to have a society in which certain classes are privileged above others? Because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying now to essentially demonize and persecute whites. Others as well, but primarily white. And make them feel guilty, say, for what baseball did 100 years ago, or whatever Francis Scott Key may have said or done a couple hundred years ago. In other words, they want to delegitimize our institutions, our sports, our national anthem, our flag, our founding fathers, our Constitution, and our country itself. That's now the question that we face. So I'm going to put it to you even in another way. Do you want to destroy the greatest republic that ever existed on the earth for the sake of political power? That's now the issue. My answer is no. What's yours? 617-266-6868 is the number. Your reaction, your calls. Next. Freddie in Beverly, you're up first. Go ahead, Freddie.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi.
The problem you have is the people at the top who are creating all this racial hatred and all this white supremacist nonsense and everything. They know what they're doing. What they're trying to do is fundamentally change this country into a third world hellhole. And the problem is these brainwashed kids in college and everything think that what they're doing is they've been brainwashed to believe that they're really fighting white supremacy and racism, and they don't know that they're just being used as useful idiots. And to give you an idea how bad things are getting and where we're headed, there's a guy, Grindall61, who has YouTube videos, and he goes to all these meetings at the public meetings in California, and they actually give illegal aliens positions in public office. They actually give them, they're not paid positions, but they give them positions in public office, and they're telling people that they're going to have to get rid of their cars at some point, and that they're going to put everybody in these tiny little buildings they'll have to live, and they said that the minorities will get first dibs and white people will get second dibs. And real quickly, a white person that was at the meeting said, but where I live, I'm becoming the minority now because there's less whites and there's more minorities. So at some point, won't I be considered a minority? And the woman said, no, whites will never be considered a minority. You will always be last on the list, is basically what she said.
Freddie, let me ask you this, and let me ask the audience this. Did you ever think you would see the day that in Fenway Park, at a Boston Red Sox game, that you would see a banner unfurled on the Green Monster saying that racism is as American as baseball? Did you ever think you would see that kind of race-mongering right there on the field?
Yeah. Well, you know what it's like? This is fascism, because remember when the Nazis wanted to, remember what they did to demonize the Jews? How they said that they were all Christ killers, that they were blaming them for what happened way back when, that all Jews are responsible for the death of Christ.
Freddie!
All whites are responsible for slavery.
Freddie, don't get me wrong, I love my wife. I love you in a non-sexual way. That's exactly what the Nazis did. They would trump up these grievances against the Jews 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 2,000 years ago, and they would apply it to them. That's what they're trying to do to us. You nailed it.
Exactly, and they're the fascists, and they're calling the people who were the victims the fascists, but they're the real fascists. And
Freddie, God bless you, my friend. Skippy in Southie. Go ahead, Skippy.
Hey, Chuck, I think everybody should pay attention that, just think of it, John Henry, that carpetbagger, he owns the Red Sox and the Globe, all right? Who's to say? Now, I agree with what Brittany said. How could you bring in a band of that size without it being detected? So who's to say he didn't invite in those 4 anti-maggots to stir up the idea of the name of Yawkey Way being changed? He's a big proponent of that.
Well, no, Skippy, look, I agree with you. Look, that's the thing about the Red Sox. I find it incredible. Look, it's their organization. They can do whatever they want, okay? It's a private team. But the only one stirring up racial division and this race-mongering and fear-mongering is them. So I've never seen this before. You've got an owner in an organization that literally spits on the face of their fans saying, oh, one guy heard the N-word. I don't believe it happened, but let that go. And suddenly, oh, the Red Sox fans are racist. They're all a bunch of racists. So he's insulting his own fans. Then he wants to rename Yawkey Way because the previous, one of the owners in the past, Yawkey was a racist. And so we're going to try to undo the sins of 50, 60, 70 years ago. And now you've got this on the Green Monster. And here's the kicker. I've got a clip for you. And so when the Red Sox when they're now asked, will those four, now that we know who they are, will they be banned from Fenway Park for life? You want to know what the Red Sox's answer is? Don't touch that dial.
WRKO, the voice of Boston.
Okay, my friends, so yesterday at the Red Sox-Oakland A's game in the fourth inning, Boston Antifa as well, I knew Black Lives Matter was involved. One of them says they're also a member of Black Lives Matter, unfurled, a banner, big banner, that says racism is as American as baseball. So the four of these hooligans were escorted out after they unfurled their banner and interrupted the game. They then were interviewed by the Washington Post. And so, according to one of them, they said that one said he was inspired by Black Lives Matter. The other three said they're Boston Antifa. They told the Washington Post that they put up the sign to bring attention to white supremacy. Quote, "We are a group of white anti-racist protesters." Here's what they told the Washington Post. "We want to remind everyone that just as baseball is fundamental to American culture and history, so too is racism. White people need to wake up to this reality before white supremacy can truly be dismantled. We urge anyone who is interested in learning more or taking action to contact their local racial justice organization." One of the fans said there was a fifth person with them. And remember I told you there was an inside job? Well, here it is. Who was, quote, doing documentation across the stadium. So basically they had a fifth person, I don't know, a student or whatever, working at Fenway Park, who obviously helped them get in to the stadium, get into Fenway Park. Now, to me, this is obvious. They interrupted the game. They have no right to do that. They had no right to be at that park in those seats. Those weren't even their seats. Apparently, they asked people, hey, just during the breaks after the innings, hey, do you mind if we just sit here for a second? Okay, just to get the Green Monster experience. So they shouldn't even have been behind the Green Monster where they were. They have smeared baseball itself, the city of Boston, the Boston Red Sox fans. I mean, I'm not a racist. Don't dare call me a racist. What, just because I'm white, suddenly I'm ipso facto a racist? That's the definition of racism, to define an entire group generally like this with stereotypes. Okay? But let that go. So you would think that the Boston Red Sox would say, whoa, 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 these guys more than just crossed the line. So we're going to fire the fifth person who helped them get in, and these four are going to be banned for life. They're never allowed in Fenway Park. You would think that's what a normal, sane organization would do. No, 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 no. Listen now to the CEO and president of the Boston Red Sox, Sam Kennedy, on OMF. It's a show on our sister station, WEI, for Ordway, Merloni, and Fourier. By the way, I love Glenn Ordway. He's a good friend of mine. Lou, I know a little bit. Fourier, I just say hi to him in the halls. But anyway, they're good guys, all of them. Listen to Kennedy's answer. Will they be banned for life? Roll it, Brittany.
But you're not going to ban them for life.
Were those guys banned for life?
No.
They can come back whenever
they
they
were
want to.
ejected. I mean, our security, who did a great job on the scene, were told very clearly that this group intended to make an anti-racism statement. They were asked if they were connected to any group. My understanding, I wasn't obviously there at that moment, but my understanding is they said they weren't connected with any formal group. They were inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement, and they just wanted to make a statement. And they were very respectful, and they were asked to leave, and they did. Every ejection or every violation of a policy is on a case-by-case basis, and I'm really proud of the way our guys and gals handled this last night.
Okay. I break into the Fenway Park. I go to the back of the green in the stands. I go behind the green monster. I don't know. I unfurl a banner. Hillary should be in prison. Lock her up. Abortion is murder. I just run down the whole. I can run down the whole list. No amnesty for illegal immigrants. Build that wall. You think I wouldn't be banned for life? You think the Red Sox CEO and president would go on OMF and say, you know, it was very respectful and the security did a great job in getting rid of Kuhner and his supporters, and my understanding, it wasn't really a formal group. I think he's the host of the Kuhner Report, but, you know, that's about it. And it was very respectful, and, you know, they just unfurled the banner, and, you know, no problem. They're so paralyzed by their liberalism. They're such moonbats. I'm telling you, they're such guilt-ridden liberals that they think if they ban these guys, these thugs, for life, if we're opposed to an anti-racism banner, that's going to make us racist, and we can't be seen as racists. They're now insulting baseball, their fans, and the city of Boston. They should be, the Red Sox should be ashamed of themselves. Now, look, I'll be honest with you. I can't afford to go behind the green monster. I mean, I can, but I don't want to pay that kind of money. It costs about $250 for a family of four to see an ordinary average Red Sox baseball game. So I had very little incentive to go to Fenway Park. After this, even less. 617-266-6868. Andy in Nebraska. Go ahead, Andy.
Hey, Jeff. First, I want to talk about, so the Antifa is trying to disrupt an event by a Jew, and they claim to be anti-fascist.
You nailed it.
And I got a couple more points. These spoiled brats have no idea how good it is to be an American. If you remember me, you know that I'm dating an immigrant from Russia, and specifically she came from Vladivostok, which is known as like the Russian Detroit. It's really gone to, you know, wearing a handbasket. They've been absolutely blessed with an opportunity to pursue their dreams here, and they would, in most places in the world, they don't have that. I think these spoiled brats need to. I think these spoiled brats need to go somewhere else in the world, like Cuba or Venezuela, so they can see what it's really like, and how good they have it.
Andy, I'll tell you right now, their parents, they should smack. I'm not kidding. Their parents should smack them. I'm really being honest with you. I think they're a bunch of spoiled ingrates who are self-loathing, self-hating Americans. I'll tell you this right now, who don't know how good they have it, how lucky they are. Here, let's just go back to illegal immigration for a second. Whatever you think of DACA and amnesty, most of the world would give up their last penny just to be able to come into this country. And you spit on it? And you're proud of insulting your own country like this? And degrading your own country? And you're right, disrupting an entire event? And notice, every step of the way, look how they're always being coddled. There's never any consequences for anything that they do. Look, I'll tell you this. Go my honest opinion. I'll tell you my honest opinion. I don't care what cause I was involved in as a teenager or a college student. I wouldn't dream. Montreal, I was raised in Montreal. I would never dream of going to the Olympic Stadium and then unfurling some kind of crazy banner and interrupting a baseball game. You know why? Because I knew when I got home, my old man was waiting for me. That's the problem. Nobody's giving these kids a smack in the back of the head. And so they keep being coddled. And I'm telling you, you know what? They start with baseball games. Then they graduate to blocking streets and highways. And then before you know it, they're at the Boston Common or at universities with batons and baseball bats beating up old ladies. That's exactly what they're now creating. Good for you, the Red Sox. Real class act. Richie in Weymouth. Go ahead, Richie.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Richie?
Well, first and foremost, if they were my kids, they'd be, this morning I would have told them, I hope you have a way to pay for the rest of your education, because I'm not paying anymore. And on top of it, they probably wouldn't be able to do that, because if I was, the four of them would have went over the side, then they'd be in the hospital. Do you think I'm kidding?
No, I think it's funny the way you phrase it. It's funny. No, you're right. You're completely right. It's just funny, they'd be over the side. I think it's funny. I think, my dad would say something like that. You're lucky I wasn't there, because if I was there, I would have thrown you over the green monster. That's a line my dad would have used. I mean, this to me is incredible. Again, I go back to my earlier monologue. Look at the double standards. Look how there's one class of people, and they're treated a certain way, and then the law-abiding Americans, look at us, we're treated a different way. So, you and I, we crash Fenway Park, build that wall, we put up a banner. You think we would get a lifetime ban? I guarantee you, I would get, as night follows day, you and I would get a lifetime ban. But hey, you're Black Lives Matter or Antifa. No problemo. They can come back today. I don't know if the Red Sox are playing today, but they can come back today. No, well, we ejected them yesterday. And that's it. We ejected them. So they can come back today. Sure. Hey, guys, why don't you throw them a few beers and hot dogs, a couple of free beers and a couple of free hot dogs, and put in a few peanuts as well. Hey, give them each a Cracker Jacks as well. Come on, they're heroes. Frank, you're up next. Go ahead, Frank.
Hi, Jeff. You
Hi.
know what they ought to do? They ought to give them 4-year scholarship to the University of Baseball. Let them polish baseballs for 4 years. That'll get them moving right up the ladder. You know what I want to do? I want to know, this might sound very simple in its core, but I know George Soros is the money behind this nonsense between this and Black Lives Matter. But they have to be living under a credo of some sort. And that credo has been initiated by somebody. There's some professor, there's some indigent, there's some ne'er-do-well somewhere under a rock, wherever he is or she is. They're there, and they're spouting this crap, for lack of a better term. And that's what's getting these people excited. That's what's telling them, listen, you can break a few heads, and the cops aren't going to get you because, number one, and we've done this all in reverse. This is partly our fault, whether anybody wants to believe it or not. So first off, if you raise your hand to your child, everybody in the neighborhood has you arrested.
That's right. That's abuse
for
now.
being a child beater.
I know, that's
right?
abuse. That's abuse now,
It's
Frank.
nobody's business. It's nobody's GD business, but everybody in the neighborhood now, because we grew a village of idiots thanks to Hillary and that other stupidity that she penned to paper. And so now we've got this deal where these people feel emboldened because if you hurt them one little hair on their infinitesimal little head or brain power, then you're going to go to jail for 20 years.
Oh, Frank, you nailed it. Look, I'm not saying, beat your kids. Obviously not. I love my kids to death. A little discipline is healthy. It's good. That's part of being a parent. You have to discipline your kids. We don't discipline our children anymore. So they become entitled, overindulged, spoiled little brats who feel entitled to everything. And then before you know it, I'm not kidding, look at that. They grow into these Antifa, Black Lives Matter thugs. And before you know it, you've got a monster on your hands who's on the green monster telling everybody else how racist they are. I mean, just think about this. And then the authorities are saying, they're a bunch of good kids. Come on. Can you play me, Brittany, play me that again about they've been ejected and that's it. They've been ejected. Guys.
You're not going to ban them for life.
No. Were those guys banned for life?
No.
They can come back whenever
they were ejected. I mean, our security, who did a great job on the scene, were told very clearly that this group intended to make an anti-racism statement. They were asked if they were connected to any group. My understanding wasn't obviously there at that moment, but my understanding is they said they weren't connected with any formal group. They were inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement, and they just wanted to make a statement. And they were very respectful, and they were asked to leave, and they did.
They're great kids. They were asked to leave, and they did. They're great kids. Look at them just BSing. Look at that BSing. Just BS. What is security? First of all, honestly, security. Well, security did a great job. What the hell does that have to do with them putting up a banner? Just BSing. Just that. Let me kill time, run out the clock, kill time. No, we're not going to eject them. Guys, hey, give them a medal. Well, the security was so good at Fenway Park, that's how they managed to get in with the banner in the first place. I mean, you couldn't make this stuff up. Ay. All right, Brenda in Beverly, you're up next. Welcome, Brenda.
All right, Jeff, two things. A serious, and then I'll try to do something on a lighter note. The first thing I want to say is this is an interesting dynamic. They have rolled out this banner that says racism is as American as baseball. Aren't they actually with people like the neo-Nazis and the white supremacists? I mean, they're like in line, and it only goes to prove you how mentally disordered that they are. I mean, think about that. I mean, if I was on that line of thinking, I'd be like, yeah, that's a great banner to be holding up at the Fenway Park. I mean, these people are nut jobs. I mean, it just never ends. I've said it before, Jeff. I'll say it again. They are consistently inconsistent. They always have one toe over here and one toe over there. They never can actually stand for anything. They think they're standing for something, but they're not. It's insanity, and you know that. So I would like to just sort of end with this. Take me not to the ball game. Take me not to the park. Don't buy me peanuts or Cracker Jacks, 'cause I don't know if I'll ever go back. 'Cause it's root for the nut jobs, 'cause they just keep doing this crap. 'Cause it's 1, 2, 3 strikes. You're out at the ball game.
Brenda, bravo. Honestly, Brenda. Absolutely bravo. Brittany, we got to turn that into a spot. Brenda, you just stole the show with that. Carol in Bridgewater. Go ahead, Carol.
Hi, Jeff.
Carol.
Nuts and out of control. It just reinforces why we need to take back our education system. We need to take back our local, state, and federal government. We need to right away just start to stand up for our rights as white people, conservatives, or Americans. We need to challenge anything that other people get preference for, sue them in court, not want to pay if we have a DUI, because they don't even have a license. They continue the drive. We need to challenge everything and stop sitting down.
Carol, look, I'm with you. We're going to stay on top of this DACA thing, I promise. Guys, I'm just thinking out loud. I don't feel like paying my taxes, do you? I mean, I'm just saying, if they can break the law and get away with it, and there's so many of them, they keep saying, well, we can't deport them, Jeff. There's too many of them. Okay. How about if 20, 30, 40, 50 million of us say, we're not going to pay our taxes? What are you going to do? Put all of us in jail? You see what I mean? The rule of law. It's the basis of America. Love it or leave it.
The voice of Boston is you. 680 WRKO Boston, 93.7 WEEI HD2 Lawrence, Boston. It's 3 o'clock.